I'm going to show you how to make a free channel banner for YouTube. And even if you already have a channel banner, I'm going to show you some best practices and some things that you need to keep an eye on to make sure that it's an effective channel banner. And we're starting right now. What is going on? My name is Nick from tubertools.com. Welcome to another video. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to grow your YouTube channel, make videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Okay, so your channel banner on YouTube represents you and your YouTube channel. So because of that, it is extremely important to make sure that it is crystal clear what it is exactly that you are offering on your YouTube channel so that when people land on your channel page, they can make the decision right out of the gate on if the content that you're making is for them or not. And again, the thing that I'm gonna be making this in is 100% free, so you can also make your channel banner awesome using this. So let's head over to the computer and I'll show you how to do it. To make a really good looking channel banner that's also effective, I'm going to show you how to make it, and then once I show you how to make it, then I'm going to show you exactly where you need to go in order to use this awesome tool that I'm using, and it's 100% free. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go up to File, and then you're going to go to Open. And I'm going to put a link in the description to this template. It's just an image, and you can open this, and this is going to give you guides. And these guides basically make it so that you can make sure that you are putting all of the important information in a safe place. So this area here in the middle, this is what people see on a mobile. When it goes a little bit wider, this is what people see on a tablet. And then the full thing is what people will see on a desktop. And then the entire image is what people will see on an actual television if they're watching on a TV. So the very first thing that you want to do is you want to go up to View, and then you want to turn on the rulers. Now, when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to see these numbers pop up here, just rulers on the top and the left. And what you want to do now is you want to basically bring in your guides. So you want to just click on the ruler and you want to drag down, and you want to put these guides here. And the reason for this is because this is going to be our safe area that we're going to work in. So we can delete this actual guide here so that when you're putting it together, you can work in a space that will help you be a little bit more creative without having to turn everything on and off all the time in order to see what's going on in the background. So once you have those guides together, the next thing that you want to do, because you know this is going to be your safe area, is you want to come down here to the bottom right and you want to click on New Layer. What that's going to do is it's going to add another layer here to where you can actually add a background. So I'm going to double click on that, and then I'm going to title this background because this is going to be our new background. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the gradient tool, and I'm actually going to hover over it, and then you can see here that if I go down to this option here, I can turn that into a paint bucket tool. So when I do that, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the colors, and then I'm going to change this to something else. Let's move it just kind of in this area here. And then I'm going to click OK to secure that color. And you know that color is secured because you'll see it pop up down here. And then I'm just going to click anywhere on the screen. Now, what you're going to see here is when I clicked on the screen, it turned it to gray. And that's because I have gray right here, but then I have that new color down here. So if I want to swap those around quickly, I just click on these arrows right here to swap colors. And then I click again. And then bam, I've got the right color. So if you end up making that mistake, you can easily swap it right here. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to import an image. So I'm getting this image here off of Adobe Stock, and it's just a cupcake. And in order to import that image, basically what I need to do is I'm going to go to File, and then I'm going to go to Open and Place. And what that means is it's going to open it and then place it in the document. So I'm just going to click on Cupcake, and I'm going to hit Open. And then it's going to bring my cupcake in here. And this is all going to make sense here in just a little bit. So once I have the cupcake in order to change the size, I just grab the corner, and you can see if I start pulling it in how it's distorting like that. Now, if I don't want it to distort, all I have to do is hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, and then it keeps everything in the right shape. So then I'm going to bring this up here. And again, I'm going to make sure this is in my safe area. So I'm going to bring it down into my safe area. Once I get it how I want, then I'm just going to click on the Move tool up here on the top. And then that transformation box is going to go away. And then I can just grab this and move it into whatever place that I want. Now, next, I'm going to add text to all of this. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the Type tool. And then here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change the color again. I'm going to swap that around. And then I'm going to change this one actually to a purplish color. So here we're going to go purple, and let's just go to like a dark purple maybe, something about like this. And then I'm going to click OK. And then here we are going to put the channel name. So for the sake of this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click, I'm going to click on the screen. And then once that's there, I'm just going to put Cake Cookers, right? That's going to be our channel name for this example. And then once I have that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight this, and then I'm going to go up to size, and then I'm just going to make this bigger. Now, the cool thing about this is while this is selected, I can also go over to this one, and this is going to let me change the actual letters and what the letters look like. So as I start going through this, let's see if I can find something nice and fun that would represent Cake Cookers. There we go. For this one, I'm going to use Fascinate. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the Move tool there again to unhighlight that. And then I'm going to bring this down to here. Now, I'm going to add another line of text, and the reason, and this is part of the best practices stuff, the reason I'm going to add another line of text is because I want to explain to people what it is that they're actually going to get from my channel. So here I'm going to click on the text again, and then I'm going to just click anywhere on the screen, and then I'm going to put learn to cook delicious cakes. Okay. Now, if you notice the channel name, you know, because of the lettering on here, it's a little bit, I don't know if fancy is the right word, but the text that's on here now for the channel name, you know, it's a little bit more logo-ish, but the text on the tagline here is something that I definitely want to make as easy to read as possible because this is the value that they're actually getting from the channel. So here, I'm just going to change this to EXO and see what this looks like. So in order to make this work, I actually had to bring it down here a little bit, and then when I go up to do it, then it's okay. Because it was going, and this is something that I just noticed, when it goes off screen, then when it's off screen, it becomes to where you can't select it as easily. So I'm going to come down here, and you know what, I'm just going to change it to this, just to make it easy, and then I'm going to take the size down. There we go. And then I'm going to click on the Move tool to basically get that into place. So as you can see here, this is a little bit bigger than my actual logo itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, click on the text tool, and then I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. Yeah, that'll do the trick there. And then I click on the Move tool to commit. Now, one thing that you might see here when you are doing this is, let's say that you have it and it's off like this, and you're trying to get it centered, and you want to make sure that you nail the centering. What you can do is you can actually hold down your Shift key, and you click on the tagline, and then you click on your channel name, and then you go up to the top here, and you're going to see alignment options. So I'm just going to click here to center horizontally. And then right there, it's going to basically lock that into place for me. Now, another thing that I'm going to do here for these, and you're going to understand why here in just a little bit, is I'm going to come down here and I'm actually going to make a new folder. And then I'm going to make sure that the channel name and the tagline are both in this folder. And this will also make sense here in just a little bit. I'm going to change the name of this to text. Okay, so now we have our basics. This is our, you know, cake cookers, and then learn to cook delicious cakes. So what I'm going to do now is, remember how I selected the color down here? So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to double click on cake cookers, and then it's going to bring up these layer style options for me. So the next thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on color overlay, and then bam, you can see it changed it to red. But I'm going to make this a more of a purple color, and I'm just going to see how that actually looks. So since this is something that I did recently, it's already in here. So I'm going to click on that, and that looks good. So I'm going to click OK. Now for learn to cook delicious cakes, let me click out of this first. And then for learning to cook delicious cakes, I'm going to do the same exact thing. When I double click on this one, because the text is filling up the entire space, it's not really letting me do it. So I can right click, and then I can go to blending options for that. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do color overlay again, and then I'm going to click on that. And then one thing that's really cool here is, let's say that I want to just match the color that's coming off of this cupcake, or maybe the color that's coming off of that cherry there. What I can do is I can just click on it, boom, and then you can see it change the color down there to the color that I want, and then I just click on OK to commit. And if I wanted to, I can do the same exact thing with the cake cookers. If I didn't want that to be purple, then I can always go in and change that as well. If I wanted it to just match what's happening in the cupcake, then this gives me the ability to do that. And to be honest, I kind of like the brown better than I liked the purple, so we're going to roll with that. Now, The important part here about having this text all grouped together is now that we have the text in terms of how, it's actually going to be in there. And I'm going to show you some really cool stuff to do with the text here in a minute also. But what I'm going to do to actually center all of that up is I'm going to also take my cupcake and I'm going to move this into that folder as well. So what I'm going to do once I have cupcake selected is I'm going to go up here to transform controls, and that's going to turn that on, and that's going to allow me to grab a corner of this. And remember, I'm going to hold the shift key in order to keep the size right, in order to bring this in to give me a decent size. And I'm happy with that there. So we're going to click on the move tool, and then I'm going to turn off the transform controls. And then I'm just going to move this into a relatively even position here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire thing, because it's all put in there together, and I'm going to click on that top text folder, and then I'm going to hold down my control key on my keyboard, and I'm going to click on background. Now, I'm going to go back up to my alignment options. I'm going to align it center, and then you can see it just aligned the whole thing center, and I'm going to align it vertically as well. And that doesn't work because of that option that I have right there at the stem. So instead of aligning it vertically that way, I'm just going to hold down the shift key, and then I'm just going to scoot this up just a little bit, and I'm going to have to eyeball it. Or technically, I could draw like little squares to, measure it all out or whatever. Or I could take this out, the cupcake, and that's what I'll do. Select my text, select that background again, align it vertically, and then I'll move my cupcake back in, because the cupcake really only mattered for the centered version. And we'll scoot this up a tad just to accommodate. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this text and we're going to start doing some fun stuff with the text. And you know what? Looking at this, it looks like it's still off center a little bit. So just for the sake of the visuals, I'm actually just going to tap this over a few spots. May or may not be accurate, but when you're doing yours, you're going to need this to be accurate. But for the sake of the demo, if it's a few pixels off, not a big deal. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here for cake cookers, and I'm going to play with this a little bit. So one of the really cool things about this, when you right click on the text over here on the right, and then you click on blending options, is it gives you all of these other things you can do too. So let's say I want to add a drop shadow to it. Then I just click on drop shadow, and then when I click on the word drop shadow, it's going to bring me an entire menu for the drop shadow. So then I can kind of pull that back a little bit. I can change the direction as well. I'm going to change this to 135. So I'm going to pull back the opacity a little bit. I'm going to turn the spread all the way down. I'm going to take the size all the way down, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of a distance on it, just a tiny amount. There we go. Just so it has a little bit there, just to add a little bit of style to what's going on there with cake cookers. And I'm going to click OK there. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing with the Learn to Cook Delicious Cakes, but I'm going to show you a trick. So one thing that I can do here is I can right click, and then I can come down to layer style, and then I can click on copy, and then I can actually paste that style to Learn to Cook Delicious Cakes. And then what's going to happen is it's going to give me the same colors that's on cake cookers. So I'm going to have to go in and I'm going to have to change them back again. But it makes sure that I nail the actual style itself. So I'm going to click on the blending options again, and then I'm going to come back over here to the color overlay, click on the color, and then we're going to click on that cherry again for this. Click OK. Drop shadow. And here I'm actually going to change this to that cherry as well, just so we're representing that same color. But you can see, because this is a thinner text, it actually looks a little bit funny that way. So I'm actually going to bring this drop shadow into a 5, and we are going to see what that looks like there. It's a little bit better. We're going to take it to 4. And with this, you can just type it into your keyboard and it'll make the change. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to click on OK. Now, there's a bunch of other things that you can do too. So for example, if I go into cake cookers, I go to blending options. If I wanted to, I can also add strokes around it. So if I wanted to put, a little bit of a pink around it or something like that, or if I wanted to sample this background color just so the drop shadow helps it stand off, then I could do that. You can see here, if I click OK on this, if I bring the size of that stroke down, let's say to a 2, then, it gives just a little bit of a different look there, just to make it a little bit more fun. And then in that situation, I would add a little bit of drop shadow to it, just to separate it there a little bit more. But you get the idea. But all of these options here, they do some really cool things. You can add inner shadows, so it looks like you're kind of seeing through it a little bit, just to add just a little bit of extra texture to it, just to kind of make it, look a little bit cooler. But keep in mind, when you're doing this stuff, it's really important to make sure that you don't overdo it, because, you know, if you don't have any design experience of any kind, with all of these options, you almost get inspired to use everything because there's so much cool stuff that you can do. But it's a really good idea to go simple, because you can never overdo things when you are going simple, but it's really easy to overdo things if you're not going simple. So other things that you can do, and I'm just going to show you just a few other features here that are really cool that I think that you'll enjoy in case you want to do them. I know a lot of people are adding things to the background now behind text. So one thing you can do if you're making thumbnails with this, as an example, is I can come down to new layer here. And then I can also come over to this area and I can click on the shape tool. And if I hold that down, if I long press it, then I can do a rectangle, I can do a circle, a line. I can even go up to custom shapes, which is cool. So if I go up here, then, you know, I have all these different icons that I can use and things like that, which is also really fun. Unfortunately for cooking cakes, the only thing that it looks like on this list is maybe the knife and fork that I would be able to use there. But everything else, for the most part, you know, is definitely some fun stuff that you can use to make your graphics more fun. You can add different stars to it and things like that as well if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just click on the rectangle tool. And then another fun thing that you could do if you wanted is if you wanted to put like a little square around this so that you could, you know, help it stand out or draw more attention to it, then you can do that as well. So as you can see there, I added that shape, and we're going to have to change the color on this, right? Because we don't want it to be that specific color. And then here, let's change this to a brown. Let's change this. And then what we're going to do now is I'm going to click on OK. And then I'm going to go back into the text, and I'm going to do something fun here on my Learn to Cook Delicious Cakes. I'm going to go back into the blending options like we were doing before. And then when I go to the color overlay, I'm just going to select this background color, and then bam. And then I'm going to click on OK, and then OK here. And then another thing that I'm going to do is, one, it looks like I need to bump this line down here just a little bit. There we go. And then another thing I'm going to do here in this situation is I want to add the same drop shadow to this block back here. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to rename this. And then I'm going to go here, right click, layer style, paste again. And then we're going to do the thing before where we just go in and we resample the colors just to make sure that we get the styling down correctly. So I'm going to click on that, and we're going to go up here and do this. And then I'm going to go to the actual color. I'm going to click on that and do that. And then for this one, I'm actually going to turn that inner shadow off because we want it to look nice and clean. And then I'm going to click OK. So what you do there is once you have the banner actually made, then what you can do is you can go up to File, and then you click on Export As, and then you just click on JPEG. Now, here's an important tip. This is really, really important. So what you can do here is you have a quality setting over here on the right-hand side, okay? Now, when you upload this to YouTube, YouTube itself might add compression to this, which means it's going to make the image look a little bit worse than it should. And especially if you have it at 100%, it's going to do that. So I recommend that you actually take it down to, you know, 75, 85%. And before you close this out, make sure that there's no compression. So when you first load it up into YouTube, you might see a little bit of compression. If you do, then refresh the page, make sure that that compression is actually a constant thing. And then as long as everything comes through okay, then you're good to go. But if it doesn't, then you want to make sure that you come in, make any adjustments to your export quality, and then save it again and try again. The website for this is photopea.com, and that's P-E-A. You can use this to make thumbnails. You can also use it to make channel art or any other art that you need for your YouTube channel. Okay, so now that you have your channel art in place, it's important that you learn how to effectively get views coming into your channel on a regular basis. So watch this video right here. It's going to tell you step by step exactly how to do that. And to learn more about growing your channel, making videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.